Hello, everybody. I am Martin Sherman. Today I'm in WeWork, joined, well, I'm in WeWork, which is in San Francisco, slightly different environment, and I'm joined by David Amerland. Super excited. Good to see you, David, and Travis Taylor. And we're going to have a chat. I can see Peter, and we've got Michael, and Nina, and Heidi, and Srinatha. I do apologize if I just brutalized your name, and Birgit, and Dave, and everybody on the thread. Great to see you, great to be here. Running a little late, so we're going to shoot for 30 minutes on the show. We're going to cover this. Android TV. This is going to be interesting. This is really, if you're watching this is something which is going to be huge. And I got access to it. I got a demo of it yesterday. And it involves search and it involves YouTube. And I want to try and talk you through what's coming with that and where the opportunity is, particularly if you're looking at business or you're looking at personal branding. And it's video. So I'm going to come to that. Also want to talk about, in relation to this, the changes that have happened on Google Plus and where things are going. Because everyone still asks me, if you go to Twitter, regularly, what's going on? They're closing this Google Plus thing down. What's happening? So we want to just touch on some of that. And what else? Anything you want to know? So hello, Sheila. Ask me questions. So, and I would say, yes, Heidi, we started, but by the time you hear that we started, and that. Anyway, so I'm going to come to David. Hi, David. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's almost the end of the week, and I'm really tired now, so it's catching up with me. And I'm really excited to be here. I think this is we're getting to some really critical developments in the way that Google is accelerating everything Google, which is really, really good.
Well, let's start there. David's the man for search, and semantic search, and he's thinking quite differently about what's happening. So let me give you an example of what's happening, and I'm going to get David's view on it. Android TV. NVIDIA have announced that they have a box coming out, and it's coming out on the 28th of May, next Thursday, I think that is. And it's called Android TV. That's the first date of Google's conference, I/O conference. 28th and 29th is when it is, right? Connecting the dots, everybody. You log into this using your Google account, as you'd expect. But it's not the same as your phone or your mobile device. The interface is new, it's different. And everyone's been thinking potentially it's going to be exactly the same. It's not. There is no Google search on the top of it. There's a little voice, and I can't show you photos, unfortunately. I've been told I'm not allowed to. But there's a little microphone, and there's a controller, and you hold the controller down, and you speak into it, and it will search. The main focus is apps. So it's going to have apps and it's got Netflix on there as a native app, and it's got Bloomberg, and it's got all of those things that you expect. YouTube, videos. This is what people watch in their living rooms. It's not search engine results. There's no Chrome browser that's just sitting there and you going in and searching around and like having your computer on the TV. It's not like that. It's not like your phone, but different. It's a different interface. When you search for something, what comes up, it brings in wiki on certain of the results, Wikipedia. And Travis has asked, do I want to do a screen share? No, I'm not allowed. I've been told legal. So can't show you, but I have got photos. Yeah. So Wikipedia does come up, and then it suggests it shows the film. For instance, if you're looking for the film, but it shows all of the other films that relate to that person and suggestions. So all of the data that they've connected, all of the knowledge graph stuff that is in search is being displayed in the most unbelievably user-friendly way. Don't give anything that they don't need. Is the view. And it's voice. So you're there, you watch. I want to watch something. I want to watch another video, and it works really. It even understands a British accent. So incredible. So what's this about? This is about Google entering into people's living rooms via the gaming market, and the gaming market is enormous. 80% of purchases in the Google Play Store are for games. This means that you can take your games that you've been playing on your phone and you can play them on the TV. but it's a way into people's living rooms as well. And I think that because Netflix is one of the native apps, they are trying to take what we'll say here, the Comcast business. People spend like $250 a month on TV here, for the higher end packages and all of the things. So now you're getting increasingly that you don't need that necessarily. Do you watch do you use those services? Okay, and that includes your cable that's coming in, and includes you don't use a phone line anymore. So you've got includes your what? So then you have Google Fiber, and that will start to get packages. And Google are looking at how to hold attention in the TV. Now, that's the kind of context to it. We're going to talk about search and come to Dave in a sec. Just one last bit. YouTube videos. This is not search results, blog posts. Think about the TV market. This is going to be an enormous market for people. If you're producing content, your content surfaces. We searched for Google+. It didn't put a plus sign next to it. It put PLUS. I got a number 3 result on that. And I'm just using this as an example. Google Hangouts, I think I've got top 5. Social SEO, I think got 2 of the top 3 for that. It's got a different algorithm. It's going in via your personalized account. So it's things that we're familiar with. This is going to change things. So what I'm saying is, and don't worry about the apps, if you're not into creating apps and you're not going that way, which is obviously an important aspect, think about video. What do people want to be watching? I think it's going to change the culture of how people look at TV. You've got TED as a native app on there as well. You've got lots of things going on. But again, we're going to have a new platform, essentially. It is Android, but it's different, and it feels different, and it's a lot tighter. David, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, first of all, it's really exciting. It's not surprising. I mean, Google, for the last 12 to 14 months, have been focusing on a couple of things. One is creating a nuanced approach in anything social, and secondly, in amping the ante in cognitive computing, which includes semantic search. But it's a broader field now, because essentially we use the same approach to limited field-driven AI to ramp up every kind of computer stroke web service behind it. And that's exactly what it is. At the end of the day, when we watch TV, there's no sense for Google to give us something which everybody else is doing and rely on brand power to differentiate itself, because it wouldn't make any kind of sense. If it can't create a cognitive computing interface which actually makes it really useful, then it won't actually be able to utilize it in any sensible way or get signals from that which allow it to become more useful. And this is exactly what's happening. The fact that it's using voice search is significant. We first saw that approach when semantic search came into play. Voice search on mobile was purely semantic and slightly limited at the time, but driven by the very nuanced algorithm. And then that was spread onto desktop search and began to become more responsive. We're seeing now greater confidence in Google, from Google, in actually being able to use voice search to deliver results directly. And that's, again, it reflects the behavior we have in the living room. We don't want to be typing and be on fiddly screens. We don't want devices want to be able to interface directly and seamlessly. And perhaps the same approach is the first step towards the Google Home, where we use voice commands to essentially we're going to have the thermostat, which eventually the Nest thermostat, which is already there, and with the IoT coming in, connected devices, you'll be able to use the Android system essentially, based around your tab or your phone, to run your entire house. So this is the direction everything is heading, and this iOS is going to be extremely indicative of many of the initiatives which we're going to see, and that's what's showing from this, from what you described.
Yeah, and it's Android. So this is something for everyone to be aware of. How to put this? So I wrote a blog post last year, and a lot of myself and David have been speaking on this stuff. Do you know what? We've only been friends for 2 years, David. If you look at what we've done, I thought of this yesterday. If you look at what we've discussed, I know. But we talked, and we both know that voice and mobile, and I put a blog post out last year, and we spoke, voice and mobile are where it's going. And what I'm now saying, think very, 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 very much about how Android is moving into the home. And it's moving in via the TV, via these boxes. And these boxes are probably going to come out $199. And it's super, super, super powerful. Let's look at what's happened on Google Plus in the last 3 weeks. Collections came out, which potentially can simplify. My stream, I would say 95%, and I make it 1 in 20 posts are not a collection. And I don't have a huge amount of community posts in my stream. But, no, actually, no. 1 in 20 are not either a collection or communities. Right? So, I mean, in other words, just to public, very few people seem to be sharing to circles alone to me these days, you know. So, only 1 out of 20 is using what we used to use pretty much all the time, which is posting publicly. In other words, people are categorizing their content or sharing it into communities, right? So that's a significant thing. And David, I'm sure you can pick up and explain. We talked about this, so we'll come on to that, about what really is happening with collections there. Okay, so that's the first thing. We get a big release, biggest release that we've had for probably over 2 years. The same week, we're no longer able to share circles. Okay, on a mobile device, you were never able to add circles. You couldn't even see circles. You like that? Circles. Okay, that's the first thing that's big change. Next thing is the hashtags in the upper right. There's no auto generation of hashtags. You can't click them to flip to get extra content. That's stopped on the desktop. You never had that on a mobile. So that's no sharing circles, and the hashtags have gone on the upper right. Auto hashtagging gone. Okay, no, two things. Third thing. Ripples have gone. Ripples were a desktop exclusive function. So look at what's happening. The desktop is getting much more aligned to the mobile experience. And what I'm saying is Android is making a massive, massive play into a market that Apple's in, and we know there's going to be a new Apple Play and things coming out before too long. We're in the stream. Google have told us streams and photos are what Bradley Horowitz is heading up, and we're in the stream. So be aware that maybe we're not at the end of a change cycle. We've got I/O next week, and let's talk about the significance of some of this stuff in relation to collections, maybe, David.
Okay, I mean, again, we've seen every attempt that Google has made in terms of giving us extra tools in Google Plus has been there to actually help us create a differentiation, create a sense of authority and identity around what we do. So we're not all the same, and we do everything for a reason that it becomes clear and easy to understand. And again, we're seeing this evolution towards the same path. Collections are a lot clearer signal than hashtags, and Google has stopped creating automatic hashtags anyway since collections came out. Collections themselves add to authority, intent, expertise a lot easier than hashtags, which are a lot more generic. And then the activity around collections begins to become a very clear signal as to their importance and actual value, which was not the case with hashtags, which could actually be seen, maybe not. People could search for them, and again, maybe not. So we're getting towards an entity-driven environment. We're still some way away before Google can say that every profile they have in Google Plus is a very verifiable entity they have huge confidence in, but we're not that far away anymore. So, perhaps the next 12 to 14 months, we'll actually see a crystallization around this, which will begin to have a significant impact. And all that we covered now points in that direction.
Yeah. So we are. Where do you think we're at in terms of change? I mean, can you? Everyone asks me, so I'm just going to ask you. Where do you think we're going?
Well, there are several things there. I mean, search itself is changing completely. We are moving more and more away from the 10 little blue links, which are going to pretty much vanish, and we're going towards answer-driven content. Okay,
hold that thought, right? Hold that thought. David said to me ages ago, or was it? It was probably in Google Semantic Search, that in 1,000 years, by 1,000 you mean 30, we'll have Google flicker in the corner of our eye that we, or search that we can just call upon. Yeah. Kind of. Was it at the start of Google Semantic Search? Your book?
It was indeed, yeah.
I remember that, and I was like, yeah, 30. Yet this step, when I saw this, it voice, and it kind of decided, just the same as it does on when you do a Google search. The generation below this generation, our generation, they're using voice all the time. Yeah, it's much more than you may realize if you're not using it, right? So it's voice, it's accurate. So there's a new algorithm, apparently. I mean, I don't know, I haven't had that verified. That's just somebody's view that is more accurate than it has been. And the answer is given, and it's not giving you lots of links and leaving it to choose. It's there. It's the thing. That's what it is. And then they're all this way, and you scroll across. If it's video, so it's the most certain, and then you got across, and you got all of the streams. So all of the links are not the videos, because it's video realm. And you've got the views that are in there, and if you've got games and you search for games in the Play Store and things like this, that's there. But it's a different sort of search. Yes. It's not giving you the same choice. And I'm just saying that I see this as a new platform, even though it's Android, it's going to be a new way for people to be interacting. Big opportunity thinking about search. It's the same. You've got to get into the mind of what are people going to be sitting there looking for? What is it? And it's starting with the gaming market, because this is, they're going in, instead of looking at the Chrome box, which is, hey, we've got this cool thing, you can stream your internet onto the TV. This isn't that. This is the gamer market. And they're very techy, which is a good thing if you're selling technical things or you're looking to access technical people.
Exactly. We know, I mean, some time ago, Google released Ingress. And Ingress was an experiment in many ways. It gave X Labs, which run it, an incredible amount of information about the way that people actually interface through devices with a real world and a digital world to create essentially what is an augmented reality. And that knowledge will start informing more and more Google initiatives. You know, the home, and essentially, if we're talking about a gaming crowd, they're already adept at doing this. They enter digital realm and they come out of it without thinking twice about it. They're very good at interfacing with devices through consoles, but also through voice when they use a microphone, and through optical aids when they actually interface with games that do that. So this is a market that just needs to use Google services as the next thing which makes sense to them in terms of practicality. And that is the key that Google is looking for. And obviously, let's keep in mind the challenge that Google is facing here. Moving away from traditional search, they need to find new ways to monetize search itself. So it may not be ad-driven. Google has been experimenting with a whole variety of things, from delivering customers from a search query to the door of a shop, getting a cut in the process, to giving sort of minimum paid services for very specific aspects. So it's quite a sort of intriguing direction the companies take.
Yeah, and I think from a revenue generation point, Play Store. People will buy. People will pay $14.99 to own a movie without thinking that much about it in the TV realm. But to do that online, there's a different psychology. There's something different when you're sitting back and you're relaxing, and and you can sit it there and you can access and you can share that experience with other people in the same space as well. It's not a unique experience on your mobile device. And so that's the one thing. Also, what's the other thing? Oh, games. Games. And I'm not a gamer. So I'm Angry Birds, that shows, but a while ago. But people spend money on games, and I've sat there and I've watched people just go, well, okay, it's $15 or it's 20. Not a second thought about it. So if you have an average of just $100 spent a year per user that's logging in to their Android TV, and you've got maybe 500 million units out there in 3 years' time, that's pretty quite happy. That's not bad as an average. And in fact I did non-exec work for a gaming company that had the Lord of the Rings game contract. This is in Wales, and they would show me, and they were doing it on Facebook, and it was the Facebook game. That's what they had the license for. They showed me the stats on who would buy in-app purchases, and people would pay like $20 to be Gandalf and just change their character, and they'd get extra powers, and the people would pay. And I saw all of it, and I can't remember what the average was now, but it was really good, and they did really, really well from the dedicated users. And this is to say, we need to shift our mentality a bit to understand what is going on, because this is going to be a new space. Video. Sheila, everybody else, video. And I think that part of it is going to be a cultural thing. Who gets it? It's not just going to be these devices. This is a gaming device, and it's got a gaming controller. Well, it's got that more. There's two different types. There's another one as well. But anyway, I'll explain one day why I hesitated on that. But the next stage is, well, is there a home controller that comes out? Is that where it goes, and this becomes the box that everybody, and then all you do is say, hey, I want to watch this. I want music. Google Play is all integrated. So whatever you've done on your mobile is all integrated. This is the point. So they are then firmly into the biggest time attention span space in the house, which is the TV. There we go. Watch this space. Next week, one more week, and I'd say we're going to get the announcement around this officially. I mean, no, everything I've said, time, I'm just putting the two together, which is, it seems I/O's on the 28th. The unit's meant to be coming out on the 28th. That's public knowledge. I'm just connecting the dots. I don't have any inside track on it if that's going to be the case, but it would seem that things are there. Hello, Ray Hiltz. Is a change to events, given the experience is so different on mobile? Do you know what? One of the funny things is, I didn't test this, and I wish I had. I don't know if you can download a Hangouts app on this, and I might have to report back. I'll see if I can find out that information. Because one of the things I wondered is, can you do joint gaming? And could you bring into Hangouts and have people in the Hangouts where you're gaming? That would be interesting. I wish I could tell you, but I can't because I didn't test it. So I might have to report back. But that was always what we felt with Hangouts generally, is that you had a shared viewing experience. And if you had the ability just to bring extra people into your account, because you log in, it's you. It's your username. One person that is in that account. It's your phone on your TV, but different. So lots of people here. Nice. Yeah. David, okay, what else is coming? We've got last 5 minutes. We've been chatting. It's nice. It's good to be here. It's nice to be in the city as well. What else is happening? What's going on with you? Where are you at? I know, we'll come and see us, Travis, as
well. Well, there's a lot of developments happening across the entire cognitive computing field. We're seeing at the moment a ramp up in semantic technologies in the full sense of the word, and that's cognitive computing. Essentially, all it is that a lot of companies are taking the data that exists, they're applying a layer of meta filtering that allows the connections to be made, and then they're using that information in many different practical applicabilities. And it's changing a lot of services. I was part of an initiative very recently, and I'll write a lot more about it soon, which essentially brought in a semantic markup for the automotive industry.
Yeah.
It sounds very technical, but there are huge practicalities for this. I mean, if we think that if we are buying a vehicle and we do research, even within the same brand itself, the same maker, there are inconsistencies in descriptions which make it very difficult to actually decide how we should buy a vehicle. And then it becomes an emotive response to the advertising and everything else. But it shouldn't be like that. And by applying this markup, essentially, we'll create a level playing field. If you're buying a car, you want to check emissions, you want to check how practical it is, you want to check whether it's economic or not, etc. You can do it across the entire board of car offerings in all manufacturers and make a more rational, evidence-based decision. And that's going to change the way we buy cars. And it ties in many ways to what you said earlier about the psychology of behavior. The way we interact with the world around us, the way we make decisions, the way we actually use things is changing. We have more information at our fingertips, but more than that, we actually have the tools to make sense of it. Search on TV, voice search is going to be one of them. A lot of other semantic technologies are going to be part of that as well. So everything that we see becomes part of a global change in the way that cities work and governments work and companies work and marketing works is part of this difference in the way we actually approach things and interact with them. We are changing ourselves in how we decide what motivates us and also what influences us. And it's a new field, so a lot of challenges there.
It is, and it's happening quickly. And it's happening quicker. And if you look at, we talk about accelerator and rate of change. If you look at the last 3 years, and you look at what's changed in the last 3 years, it's a case of systems change, culture changes, behaviors change, how we feel changes. These are the areas. Heidi, you like that because you know that's integral theory. We are adjust, and you have to go with it. And to try and hold on and to keep things static, you just get mashed. So you've got to have a good crew around you. You've got to have the best information. You've got to build your network with the best people for you, because that's where you're going to get the right information and have more freedom and choice moving forward, because you can have the right conversations, I think. So, Travis, what about you before we move towards wrapping up?
Hey there. Well, I'd have to say that the Android TV is new to me, but with all the changes happening, not only inside of Google, but also with virtual reality and the push for mobile virtual reality becoming more of even a platform than the hardware like Oculus Rift. And if you tie that in with Android TV and whatnot, it is amazing how many major companies out there right now are creating 360-degree video cameras. I mean, even Kodak has one now. So that tells you that the market is definitely pushing that direction, and it's accessible to most anybody, you know, that has a smartphone and wants to, you know, you can make it. Google gives this the ability and all the instructions to make it yourself. One of the Google Cardboard, so you don't even have to order it offline. If you have the resources, you can create it there at home. And that combined with Android TV and just everywhere that Google is going is going to be interesting.
So let me just add into that, because we keep returning to many of the themes. We talk about virtual reality, and James Dursley's the man to go to if you want to look at virtual reality marketing. Let's look at what Google have said. Well, Google have allowed Stephen Levy to say in the book, In the Plex. It's a big book. And there's a few very significant things, and one of the things is Google are building the mirror world. This is what he's saying is the name of it. It's the mirror world to this world, to this physical world. This is actually, depends what you're looking at. This bit's kind of the mirror world. But it's how do you get into that world? What are the interfaces? And you have to get in via some piece of tech. So whether it's your phone, what's the restrictions of the phone? Battery life. You need, if you're going to have a unit, where are you going to be? Okay, so that's one way in. You can have a unit, well, you can put the phone into the unit, or you can be sat at home, and there's going to be some connectivity. What are the boxes going to be? How are you going to get in? Is it going to be your computer? Is it going to be in the lounge? Because you're going to have these units. And the gaming market is moving virtuality because people want to be on the virtual roller coasters. If you haven't done that stuff, do it. It's crazy. It's fun. But it's not just about that. Google have got all of the ingress information. People have got the photos. People have got the connections. And there's an article out today by the Singularity University. And if somebody wants to drag it out, I just saw it before I came. And this is a new world that's being created. And it will feel like something. And this is the very early stages. This is just the beginning. And David Mayer Roberts, I was with, and I posted in the N+ Business community recently. He was at an event, and they're looking at the health applications of virtual reality. They're looking at every application. It's going to change. It's the next big wave that was just like the internet.
There's so much.
There's so much.
All new applications can be made.
It's happening. It's happening now. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the Plus Your Business Show. Thank you so much to David. Thank you to Travis. Thanks to everybody for watching. We do our best to keep you up to date. The Academy. Those of you that are in the Academy already, wonderful. We may close the doors at some point. We've got some news on that. So please join now. Go and check it out, plusyourbusiness.com/the Academy. We have very interesting conversations, great connections. We can quicken the path for you getting to where you want to be. And we're here to help. Thanks again to David and to Travis. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. See you all soon.
Take care, guys.